Yo, what's going on, you guys? And welcome back to the Anime Plus podcast. This is your pod for pretty much everything anime and anime related. And on today's episode, we actually got a pretty good one. Not only am I joined by Own as per usual, but I got my cousin Rizz in the chat. And I wouldn't say he's an expert, but out of all the people that I know, he is an expert in today's pod. And that has to do with Webtoons. And it's kind of crazy to say, but Webtoons wasn't really a thing back in the day. And now it's kind of blowing up and it's starting to get anime adaptations, and I think that's why we're going to start to have to talk about it. So with that being said, Riz, say what's up.
Yo, what's up? My name is Rizz. Yeah, like Ray said, I'm not an expert in a lot of things, but Webtoons, I'm pretty much an expert on. I've read Webtoons since its early release, the websites, and I could say it's like manga, except it's colored, if you can imagine like that. It's like a weekly release every single week where creators would like create whatever they want, whatever stories they want, and they release it on our website, Webtoons. And Webtoons itself isn't technically the original source. Uh, Webtoons is kind of like a sidetrack from like manhwa. They're called Korean manga technically. That's what they call manhwa. And there's Chinese versions as well called manhwa. But manhwa is basically Korean versions. A lot of them are like Korean originals. Like if you know Lookism, that's very popular. Got an anime adaptation on Netflix. Um, those are Korean based, if you can tell. But manhwa, basically, it is like they get adapted as like books, like how you read as Harry Potter. They're like books as light novels, and if it gets pretty popular, then they get into like drawings, basically like manhwa, like manga. And if those get popular, then there's like other ways to get like money off of them, like for example, anime or movies or live actions.
Dang, man, I didn't know all that about Webtoons. Wait, so let me clarify one thing with you. So are all Webtoons colored? I read a few, and so far every single one that I read were all colored. So is that like a requirement?
Kinda, I would say. Like there are definitely some webtoons where they don't have color, but manhwa, the typical format is color. And for manhwa, it's not like how Japanese manga is, where you read from like right to left, I'm pretty sure. It's like just scrolling down. It's just from like top to bottom,
Right,
basically.
right, right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I heard the whole reason why they're called webtoons is because they're supposed to be read as if like online and not in like paper format. I guess that leads me to my next question, right? So I was doing some research about like what exactly a webtoon is. And they said because it's like on website based, I guess, not like paper, like I guess you could say let's just put it this way. It doesn't have the same rules and regulations in terms of some censorship. So
Mhm.
like it can get hella out of pocket if you know what I mean. So so I guess a lot of
Yeah.
people have the like a misunderstanding, misconception about webtoons that they're hella out of pocket. So is that something that you like about webtoons, or is that just
I
like
Can you
I
expand? Wait, can you expand on the out of pocket thing? What do you mean by
all
that?
right? So let me just tell you this. So when I pulled up the webtoons, they have an app. So I pulled
Yeah.
up the app, and 8 out of 10 things I see are like out of pocket. They're like dudes kissing each other. They're like borderline hentai. Like it's like what the heck am I looking at?
Oh
But like
shit.
other than that, real talk though, real talks. I've read one webtoon we'll talk about later in this pod. It's actually fire. It's gas.
yeah.
But that's what I
So
mean by out of pocket.
I
So were
mean,
the images gas or was the storyline gas? Like,
bro, what do you expect that storyline to be, bro? What do you expect the storyline to be?
All right. So
I
Riz. So
yeah.
is that like a thing with webtoons that they're like out of pocket like that, or is it just like was I just unlucky?
I would just say half and half actually, because originally when Webtoons was first created, there wasn't that much of out of pocketness. I think what they tried to do is Webtoons was trying to copy manga, like Shonen, for example, where they just have action battle mangas and everything like that. But nowadays, because it's a trend of like being Gen Z and everything, um, they're more geared towards the romance right now because it's the most popular as of right now. But if you do webtoons only, then it's romance. But if you go to scan websites, which somehow that's how manhwas are originally translated, they're right now more geared into like in the past, like history wise, like reincarnation. Those are really popular right now.
That's crazy because me and Owen were talking about that in the last pod where we're talking about like all the new anime that are coming out in winter, pretty much this season of 2023, and there were so many reincarnated stuff, like all these isekai animes. So I guess
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Webtoons
those
is pretty much
animes.
just yeah. So is Webtoons pretty much the same thing, like same
Uh,
genres? Would you say?
well, I see isekai and reincarnation are two different things. Because isekai is like if Chuck Kun like killed like a random homie on like the street, then homie gets like transported to a different world. But like reincarnation is like imagine there's like this 40-year-old or like 50-year-old guy that's like dying on the street. And he just says like it's very typical now. It's actually the same format if you read many of these things. They're like, oh, I wish I did something like that. And then they just by happen by chance, like some I don't know, some magical thing happens to them and they wake up in like their younger previous body. Or if they're trying to be like a little interesting, they switch it into like a different person's body and then they relive life again.
So
So
pretty much
they're still on the same Earth basically in the same universe. It's not like a fantasy or anything.
Kind of. I mean, like if it takes place in the fantasy world, they'll repeat. There's many adaptations. They come from like Earth to fantasy or fantasy to Earth or like Earth to Earth or something like that. They have different formats.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
dang man, that's crazy. So like Lookism, we'll talk about more in the later on in this pod, but Lookism is one of those, right?
Actually, Lookism isn't a reincarnation. It's like um, I mean, we'll say later in the podcast, but I see it's not a reincarnation at all. It's
Gotcha. All right.
actually
So
yeah,
when you mean reincarnated, you mean like actually reincarnated into a different
Uh,
body. Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
like homie actually died. Yeah,
All right. Gotcha.
yeah.
So moving on. So I got another question for you. I know you read a ton of manga as well, not just
hmm
webtoons. Which do you like better? Like I know personally, like I've never read a ton of manga. I finished my first webtoon, which was so lovely. Again, we'll talk about that later in the pod.
hmm
But I really messed with the coloring because I thought that made it like 10 times better. Like, of course, you don't have the whole music aspect and like soundtrack and all that, but the color definitely added like a whole different level. So for you, would you mess with the webtoon side more or the manga side more?
I'd say as I get early when I was younger, I would prefer manga just because like the stories more interesting back when webtoons was like still fresh. But now I actually prefer webtoons just because like people are more creative nowadays, and it's just not like how it is in manga where they just like I feel right now manga is actually peaking right now. It's like webtoons is actually being more creative than ever. I would say.
So that I guess that's another thing that kind of sucks about manga. A lot of these I guess what they're called mangaka, right? Like the people that write the manga, like
Yeah.
they get kind of get forced into a direction by their editors, and they get forced to either end their series or go in a certain direction. So with webtoons, it's just normal everyday people writing them, so they can kind of go anyway, right?
Kind of, I would say. So when you have mangaka, if you're a mangaka who's like, well, if you're a mangaka, usually it's either a team or one person. Like if you have Oda, then Oda does like the art and writing. But sometimes there's often for like mangas, they have the writer and then another person, like One Punch Man, there's like the story director, and then there's like the art, and there's a team that like helps direct it. But for webtoons, if you're going on webtoons specifically, there's the creators who do the art and do the storylines, but there's translations because if it could come from originally from Korea, and so people have to translate it, or there's people who like brush up the art or redraw just so the quality is better, or how it is nowadays in webtoons is like webtoons they are created as an original, so you can do whatever you want in the original, and if it gets popular enough, webtoons makes you redraw the story, but they commercialize it more, and you're able to get more money on it. And if you're questioning how you get money on webtoons, is their format is called like episodes, like unlocking episodes. Basically, what they do is like if a webtoon series is super popular, they're gonna have like 5 episodes loaded. Then, if like you say, if you really want to watch this, you gotta buy coins, and if you're gonna get coins, you gotta pay money, and then it unlocks like a pass, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was mad annoyingly. I was doing like a chapter per day, so that sucked.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I honestly like the fact that like the average person can just make money off of something that they're passionate about. Just like just it's just like YouTube, right? But instead it's like in a form of art that they like, which I really like.
yeah, I
I would
mean,
say, yeah. Oh, my bad.
No, you go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say definitely, but I actually say drawing webtoons is harder than manga. Because the
Yeah.
reason why is because like you have an editor for a manga, so they know exactly what they want. Like they're coming from like a official company like Shonen, like Shonen Jump. Like they know what audience they're gearing for, so they already know what direction they're going for. But if you're doing webtoons, you gotta draw this, color it out, and you also have to like advertise it properly. Because the thing is, you might not have a team as like an original webtoon creator, rather than a person who's a mangaka already.
It's like a one-man army, basically,
Yeah,
versus like a
basically,
whole same. Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Dude, as far as I've seen, like I've seen a ton of these like webtoon authors or whatever that create these webtoons. They don't really get paid through webtoons, you know what I mean? Like of course they get paid, but not as much. That's something that I've seen come up here and there. I guess it's like a whole debate. I haven't really done my proper research on it, so I can't really comment too much. But do you know what I'm talking about?
No, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, webtoons creators, they barely get any money. Like, I think the only webtoons that have been getting animated are the ones, like, if you see these ones that are getting animated, you're thinking, oh, they're pretty popular. Nah, like, they've been around for so long that the point where it's been accumulating, like, loyal people, and that's why it's getting more popular ever. Like, you see, like, what's it called, Tire God, or like Lookism or God of High School, like those things, they've been there for such a long time, and it's their original, like it's webtoons like first starting up pieces, and it's got such a popularity, then that's why they've been able to like commercialize them. But yeah,
Gotcha. All
like
right, that
it's
makes
really
sense.
hard. Yeah,
Dude, wait, so let me ask you a question going back to the webtoons versus manga thing, right?
yeah.
So you say you prefer webtoons right now, right?
Hmm.
But in terms of like peak, so we're saying like the best webtoon versus the best anime. So I don't know what your favorite webtoon is, but compare that to like a One Piece or whatever your favorite anime is. Which one would you prefer better?
No, there's no way.
Yeah, I would actually, okay, if you tell me about that, I would prefer manga, just because like
Hmm.
I don't know why. It's just because it's manga's manga. Like they actually have like a more like elegant like story directed format, or unless they're like into like I don't know weird stuff. You know what I'm talking about. But like yeah, unless they're into weird stuff, most mangas have like pretty good like eloquent like storylines.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
overall, like peak, if we're talking peak right now, you'd say that manga is better
yeah.
for
Because
now,
right
at
now,
least.
yeah, for now manga's on peak right now, but I think webtoons is pretty rising up right now.
Dang, that's crazy. Because like, can you imagine like this will probably give like Shonen Jump and all these other like publishing companies a run for their money if webtoons start to pop off. Like that's gonna start to create some serious competition, which might work in our favor because like we'll be getting more and more stories, I guess. But like who knows? You know what I mean? Like imagine like manga has to become webtoon someday because webtoons is the new wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, I actually think it might be really difficult. It might actually take longer than you expect. The reason why is because like webtoons right now, they're so diverse with their audience. It's really hard to grasp like a general audience. When you have Shonen Jump, technically sometimes they have to be like a battle like Shonen Jump manga. They have to be like sometimes family friendly, and it's like a general audience to invite like new people. But for webtoons, like you can be as specific as you want, like hyper specific. You can be like into like I don't know, some like vampire stuff where you're into like, I don't know, like building stuff. And you can be so specific and it's for that specific audience. But it's like it'll take us such a long time for webtoons to like or even manhwa in general to caught up with like anime. And I think in order for them to even get popular, they're gonna have to generalize like their genres.
Gotcha. All right. So let's move on. So I got a question for you.
Hmm.
So give me your top three webtoons. And then let's do one of them has to be like a recommendation for somebody that's only done anime. So like Owen, for example. Owen
Yeah.
hasn't watched any he hasn't read any webtoons and he hasn't watched any anime that were originally webtoons. So give him a recommendation.
Yeah, I actually
Okay.
didn't even know what Webtoons was like prior to 2 weeks ago. I'm willing to learn, and honestly, it's definitely if it's like to me, it's probably like what I'm thinking. It's like fan art, which honestly I enjoy. So
Um I'd say well, if to like answer your question,
like they
uh
probably get inspiration from like anime and manga, right?
some of them do, but like I would say
Like
manhwa is actually like easier to digest than manga.
okay, for
Yeah.
sure. Is it okay? So I have a question. How long is like the average? Like you know how manga is like some can be super long. Like
Yeah.
what? Like each episode, or like how does that go?
Okay, so like you know how like a new chapter in like a manga drops and there's a couple panels, right? It's the
Yeah.
same thing for webtoons. They're around roughly the same depending on what storylines it is. Like if you are webtoons that like are directed in like a few couple of shots, and if it's that type of style, then like it's gonna be very short. But if like as if we're gonna talk about this like webtoon like later right now or like coming up, Lookism, it's been going on for a while. I think its chapters are like nearing towards like I think One Piece probably. I think.
No, that's crazy. Honestly, I like in-depth storylines, so I might give that a try for sure.
hmm But yeah, so back to Aray's. He's asking for my recommendation. So, well, my recommended and also the top of my list is Lookism, just because it's like I feel like it's really relatable to me personally. Also, it's one of those high school type of like storylines. So I guess it's like really easy for a lot of people to digest. And then there's Weak Hero and Ugly Seed.
What was the second one?
Weak Hero, Weak
Okay,
Hero. Can you
so
hear me?
I'm about to add that to my list real quick.
Yes, sir.
Um, I've heard of
Weak
LSD.
hero? That sounds like mid-hero, to be honest.
My
Okay, okay.
Hero.
We don't
Let's
delve
go.
into that. We don't delve into the forbidden like fandom. We don't go to that forbidden fandom ever again.
I'm dead. You suffered the last pod. Let's go. He's gonna be listening to this. He's gonna be pissed.
Yeah,
Anyways,
he better be listening to it, bro. My hero. Yeah, right, bro.
anyways, I've read well, I mean, I watched the anime for Lookism. I thought it was pretty, I guess you could say mid.
It's trash.
Um,
No, it's trash. It's
in
trash.
the last episode, dude, the last episode they just did CG out of nowhere. So I was like,
Dude, because they got no budget. That's what I'm talking about. They haven't commercialized this like manhwa enough in order to have
mhm.
enough money to commercialize it or put
but
it towards into.
but wasn't it done by Netflix? So like, wouldn't you expect the budget to be a lot better?
Okay, the thing is like Netflix expects you to buy into the hype, and that's how they like try to make money to. Because Netflix, they don't need to like put in so much like effort in order for like at least for like because the thing is it's there haven't been already manhwa types already, so they can do however they want it to be, you know? Like if I remember I was watching one of these old animes from Netflix, bro, it's all CGI, bro. Like I'm telling you,
Right.
bro, like you need a different team in order to do this because mangaka, you have a mangaka team and then you have an animating team because anime is so popular, right? But there's no anime that's specifically geared towards the Korean types.
I feel like too much money is poured into anime and manga compared to webtoons, so there's like it's hard to compete.
Yeah, exactly. That's why like I remember I remember Mappa, the animated God of High School. Damn, the
That
quality
was
was amazing.
good. That was fire, bro. Honestly, man. So, God of High School, for you guys that don't know, is another webtoon that turned into an anime, and that the visuals on that were crazy. The story was ass, bro. I'll be honest,
Oh
but the
shit.
visuals were
No,
I
no, no.
insane.
They
I was
butchered
gonna
it.
watch that.
No, 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 no. I'm telling you this, bro. The story is actually like until recently, because they butchered the story like recently. But like in the beginnings of God of High School, it was 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10, I say. Better than like One Piece. I'm telling you, bro. Like it's my opinion,
Okay,
bro.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
you just
buddy.
I
triggered old, bro. You just
Okay,
triggered
buddy.
old.
I'm just
There's
saying
nothing
how it
better
is,
than
bro.
peak One Piece. I mean,
I,
even
if
like filler One Piece is probably better than that. Come on now.
bro, filler, I bro, I don't know what you're talking about. Filler One Piece is like, I don't know. That's a bad acid trip. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, that's Naruto. Naruto filler One Piece, episodes are weird.
Naruto
I,
was just filler, to be honest.
I bet.
all right, so hold up. So what I'm getting from this is like the adaptations aren't that good. So like you'd say God of High School that the adaptation was pretty it wasn't good enough, right? For the story at least. I mean the animation was pretty good, right?
Yeah. So I think what they did, well, they had a like an episode limit and like a budget, and so I think they tried to rush it, which is like which is actually completely the opposite of what they did for Tara God. Tara God was 100% loyal to the storyline, but the thing is, because the beginning of Tara God, actually it takes about 200 chapters for it to pick up the pace. And so when they animated those few chapters, I know for a fact not people would like it because it's really, really slow in the beginning. It's really boring, but it picks up a lot after like the second, like 200 chapter or so. And so for God of High School, I think they just tried to rush it and they made it. The quality was good. They like the music is good and everything like that. but the storyline was so bad. Like really, it was so bad.
Gotcha. Wait, so I got another question based off that, right? So
Yeah.
we can say the accuracy is really not there for all the webtoons. So I guess it's kind of the same thing with manga as well. But I've seen that some webtoons get adapted into like K-dramas. Have you seen any of those? Or are they like valid?
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of them, and they're actually really valid. The
They
K
are?
dramas, yeah, the K dramas have done the webtoons justice, and I think even better.
Okay, wait. Explain K dramas to me.
Okay, so you know how for all the people who like general audience, we have if have you seen like any of like the South Asian shows where they make it like kind of like a soap opera type?
Dude, so
Imagine
like
No,
that.
I have not.
so
Yeah,
what
like
Squid Games count as a K-drama or no?
Squid Game is a K drama.
All
Okay,
right,
then I
so
have, but
something along the lines, I guess.
Yeah, it's something along the line. It's like K drama. It doesn't mean that there's like dramatic about it. It's just K drama is like the general like name for it. Like it's just a generalized name, but you can have so many different types of genres. Like there's like I don't know. Scream is an example of a K drama,
I
and
don't
so
know.
K dramas
It
are
had like a movie type feel more than
yeah.
a
Because the thing
like
is,
TV show.
K dramas they don't go longer than 2 seasons, and so they
Oh,
pour
okay,
all
okay.
their budget and all their acting into like the episodes, and the episodes are twice the length of like normal like episodes you see. Like you know how, for example, if you watch like an episode of like The Walking Dead, it's like 30 minutes. Well, a K drama is like an hour and 30 minutes.
Honestly, I enjoy that. You get like your content once, and it's like
Yeah,
long form content.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch whatever you recommend for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I say K dramas have done the webtoons justice, and sometimes in even better cases, even better.
Dang, so you're saying the K-drama adaptations are better than the anime adaptations?
Yes, 100%.
Sick. I know that there's Sweet Home, is it called? And All of Us Are Dead or something like that.
Hmm.
So those are K-dramas that were originally webtoons, right?
Yes. Sweet Home is one of my top favorite like horror manhwas of all time. It is so good, and I think Sweet Home when they did the adaptation, it was pretty good. I would say they did stick up to the story and everything like that. But in order to have like that original horror feeling, you need to see it in like the manhwa type because it's more horrific or more like it gets you the vibe better if it's more like a manhwa type than like an actual K drama.
Gotcha. Wait, so these are all on Netflix too. That's a pretty sick thing.
Actually, some of them are on Netflix. I think most of them, but other ones are on like websites like Wiki.
So let's finish this off with this. So personally, I watched Tower of God, God of High School. So those were fire, man, right? In my opinion at least. And then I read Solo Leveling. So your personal opinion, are these the top webtoons that are out there, or are they just kind of whatever? Because those are the ones that I've read and seen, like Tower of God and God of High School, where like they've got anime adaptations. So I figured that they got to at least be really good to get anime adaptations, right?
I say back then those were the only type of webtoons. Those were like the original ones, so that's why they have such a huge following, and that's why it's so popular. But they are like those are like the level entry like they like you know how like you have One Piece, it's like the basically the basic ones, right? That's basically what they are. They're like the
Whoa,
shonen
you just
Mainstream?
types.
triggered on.
You mean the mainstream? Let's not call it basic. Like, come on.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Wait,
But
wait,
I'm
wait.
saying
So you don't like One Piece?
no. I love One Piece, but
Okay,
I'm
then.
more yeah.
That's good.
But I'm just saying they're like
I
they'll
get
be
what you're
on
saying.
Netflix.
They're
Okay.
like the way they tell their story is pretty like it's basic in terms of like that's the trope. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
not something out of pocket shit. You know what I mean? I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
I get
Now
what you're
everything
saying.
is out of pocket. Now everything is out of pocket now,
When are they gonna animate those stuff? Like
bro. That's never gonna happen.
You gotta
why
go on a
not?
different website. Come on.
I gotta start
Bro.
paying tokens for them, coins. What's it called? Webtoons, lucky chapters.
Yo, chill, bro.
So Solo Leveling, as I said before, I just finished the entire webtoon. It was straight fire. I mean, the first 100 chapters were like really, really good, and then it kind of fell off a little bit. But anyways, it's getting an anime adaptation for 2023. So basically this year. I don't know exactly when it's gonna come out, but I'm hella excited, man. What you think about this, Riz?
I'm really excited about this as well. My only concern is they're gonna butcher it, and that's only because this is probably their biggest project till date because of how insanely popular solo leveling is. There's a huge chance they could like mess it up, but because of there's such a huge dedicated fan base for solo leveling, because it is now the face of like if you talk about manhwa or webtoons now. Like my only concern is that they butcher the anime adaptation. That's really it.
Dude, like honestly, like the animation throughout the entire thing was just fire. Like the colors they used, the character, like I think his name was. I honestly, I barely remember his name just because like that's one thing about webtoons that we didn't really talk about. They're not Japanese. They're Korean for the most part. So
Mm-hmm.
like it really like I learned like all these Japanese names. You know what I mean? Like Sasuke's spelled like Sasuke. You know what I mean? So I
Sasuke.
find yeah, so I finally learned all that. Now I gotta learn Korean names, which is no problem. But dude, I just be getting confused, bro. They have similar names. But anyways,
Uh, no, yeah, they got similar names, and I think they also reuse the same names. Like you're gonna
right,
see a
right,
ton
right.
of characters like named Jin, bro. Like you're gonna see
Dude,
so many
that's what
Jin
I'm
names.
saying, bro. There was so many Jung, Songs, and Kim and Park. There was so many of those that I just kept getting confused. I'm like, who is
Yeah,
this
bro.
character again?
Hmm.
But anyways, back to my point. I don't even know where I was going with that, but yeah, dude, the webtoon itself was just phenomenal, man. So like, I don't know if it's gonna live up to the expectations, but dude, that webtoon is probably, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I've only read one, but it is fire, man. Like,
Bro, not to be that type of person, but I'm gonna stop you there. That is not a webtoon. Soul Leveling is not a webtoon.
bruh,
Soul Leveling is
is
a
it not?
manhwa. It's a manhwa. It's a
Damn, bro,
manhwa.
why you gotta do me like that though?
No, you gotta get
Bro,
it right, bro. You can't fucking
I
get it wrong.
I think I said this earlier in the podcast, but so there's two things, webtoons and manhwa. So webtoons is like a creator platform for I'd say all like countries, and they can put it on there and they commercialize it for money, right? We have these manhwa specifically has huge audience in Korea, and that's where they make their most of monies, right? But once it's outside the U.S., there's American teams or people, they're scanlation teams, and they translate it and they redraw it and they put it on the internet, and they have these scan websites like Manga Rolls or like Asura scans, and that's where you read them. But they're technically manhwa because they're not commercialized by webtoons and not thus defined as a webtoon. Because, like I said before, the original source is a manhwa.
Wait, so hold up. So are all webtoons manhwa?
All webtoons are manhwa, but not all manhwas are webtoons.
All right, I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah,
But it's just easier to say webtoon, so I'm gonna call this shit a webtoon.
yeah.
Anyways,
Bro,
The moral of
no,
the story. People
moral of the
call it
story, man.
webtoons.
Basically, oh man, I know you haven't watched any of the anime adaptations for these webtoons. So real talk, Riz, if
Yeah.
you had to tell him to watch one, which one would you tell him to watch? I know we talked about this. I think that personally, I think he might like God. Sorry, what was it called? High school. God of High School. Yeah, that
got
was
high school.
fire. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Don't watch that. I completely ignore his
Don't
bro.
watch it.
recommendation.
Honestly, I've heard a lot about it.
Nah,
As in,
bro.
I've heard it many times.
Nah, the only reason why most people like it is because like the music's really, really good and the animation's fine.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you this, bro. You will get bored, and the storyline is so bad. I actually say as a basic, like a good basic storyline and like a good basic manhwa anime adaptation is Tower of God. I would actually say
I
both of
love
them
that,
are.
dude. I love Tower of God. So I'm with you here. Like I thought the story for God of High School was kind of mid, but if you wanted to see some pretty cool art, I mean God of High School was pretty dope.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
I'll
man,
definitely give it a try for
dude,
sure.
can I just say one thing about Tower of God before we end this pod?
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
I just want to say, bro, the second to last episode was so fucked up, bro. And I'm gonna say this without spoiling, so don't say it, Riz. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking
That
about.
is a
Chill.
top 10 anime betrayal,
Chill.
bro. That is straight
Oh my
out of pocket,
god.
bro.
Hey, that's what happens when you sip, bro.
That's facts, bro. Moral of that story, bro. Don't sit, bro. Don't trust
Did
nobody.
you tear up or what?
Nah, I
Oh,
didn't tear up, bro. But I was just like, damn, like my whole. The only word I was saying pretty much for the next 5 minutes was, damn, bro. What the fuck? Over and over again.
God damn, bro.
bro,
That got me excited, bro. That got me excited. I'm
I would
not
just
gonna lie.
throw hands. I would just throw
Dude,
hands.
honestly, man, honestly. But the other thing was only what 12, 13 episodes, and season two
Yeah.
is coming out this year, so I'm hyped for that.
Oh, and you like One Piece, right?
Oh,
Yeah, you're like.
I don't just like One Piece. I love One Piece.
All
One
right, so
Piece
you're a
is a
nerd. You're
lifestyle.
all
Yeah,
right, so you're a nerd. Okay, so we got it.
yeah.
You're a nerd.
Bro.
But
I
but
mean, I don't mind if that's what a One Piece fan is called.
so you're one of those nerds. Those type of like I don't know those specialist people. I don't know, but
The
Tower
super
God
fans.
is Tower God is basically it's like the webtoon version of One Piece, basically.
I don't know if we're gonna
Wait,
compare
wait,
like that,
where are
but
you getting this
how do
comparison from? Like, how do you
yeah,
get that?
yeah.
So you know how One Piece they have this overarching like world building, the amount of information, the storyline, and just how long it takes to say the story, and
Yeah.
just how general it like it there's exploration, there's teams and there's crews and everything like that. It's the same thing with Tower God. If you read enough of it, like if you start reading more into it, just like One Piece, it picks up its pace. As if season one would be like I think imagine like the few chapters of One Piece. That's basically how season one of like the animation adaptation is.
Is it like
You're
super
actually
long?
it's super long. It's one of the
Okay, okay.
longest. Yeah, it's one of the
Okay,
longest
bet,
running
bet, bet.
webtoons. Yeah.
I mean, I could definitely if it's a long, um, if it's like a long webtoon and it's been running for a long time, then obviously the story has depth, and I can compare it to One Piece. I mean, I'm not gonna just be like as a One Piece fanboy, I'm not gonna just say it's better. I gotta give it a try. Let's see.
You're definitely gonna be like, this is. So how does this compare to Goat Piece? I don't know. Is this trash piece? I don't know. I can't tell.
Uh, uh, Never say trash piece ever again. No,
Oh, dude,
Peak
bro,
Fiction.
Riz,
Like,
man. If you want to pull up on this pod ever again, bro, you can't do this to Owen, man, because that is the one thing that Owen loves more than anything, and that's One
One
Piece.
Piece,
that's
bro.
a fact. That's a fact.
I,
I'm like
I,
a walking
I.
advertisement for One Piece.
You're walking
Like,
advertisements, so like
if you
you,
see me, and one of the first questions I'm gonna ask you is like about anime and then One Piece, for
bro.
sure.
That means you got no Riz then. You actually have no Riz in real life then. If like you
That's
say
if
that
I'm
to like,
talking to a dude, not if I'm talking to a bitch. That's different, bro.
you definitely gonna say that to a
Like
girl, bro.
what?
There's no doubt about it,
Imagine
bro.
I say, "Yo, what anime do you want?" Yo, come on now.
Like, yo, what is
I
Pickup size? Like, you do like One Piece? If she says no, bro, you definitely done with her. There's no doubt about it.
Now, but there's one thing I gotta say. My
what's up?
wife, she gotta watch One Piece. If she can't commit to One Piece, she can't commit to me.
Yo,
Damn, bro.
Oh,
all right,
Good
man.
luck, bro.
I think that's a I think that's a perfect way to end this pod, man. All right, man. Riz, I gotta thank you for breaking this down. To be honest, bro, you really had me surprised. I didn't think that you do all this about webtoon slash manhwa slash whatever the hell you want to call it. You actually knew your shit, bro. So not just me and Owen, but I'm pretty sure everyone else that was just as confused as we were really appreciate it. So
okay.
yeah, definitely pull up to this pod again. You got
Yeah,
something to say on?
Yeah, my boy Riz, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Honestly, I knew nothing about webtoons, and you taught me so much. I'm gonna start one for sure. And which one was the one that was just like One Piece? Because I'm gonna definitely start that
Tower of
one.
God. Tower
Yeah,
of
Tower of
God.
God.
oh
I'm
god,
definitely
yeah.
gonna start that one for sure. And
Yeah,
come on anytime you want. And it was a pleasure having you.
yeah. I was just saying thank you for having me, and it's my pleasure to help you guys.
All right, word plot. All right, guys, make sure you guys check out our other pods, our other episodes. We're also sponsored by Ghost Trigger, so shout out Ghost Trigger. Our code is in our link. You know the discount code ECB15 for 15% off. And with that being said, peace out, and we'll catch you guys in another episode of the Anime Plus podcast. Peace.